Good morning. Our hand today is going to be Pocket Kings. This is a 10NL game. I'm in the cutoff. We're six-handed and under the gun, not open raises, limps, and it's on me. This player's playing 54-12, loose, a little bit more on the passive side. He does raise, so his raise first in here is 19% in early position, 15 in mid position, 14 cutoff. Limping seems to be about the same, about 30%, maybe 35%. So I just went ahead and said, let's look at what 50% is, something like that, and then remove hands to get down to 37.3. We can narrow it down a little bit. So if we narrow it down, my guess is that we lose these. And you can see that we very rapidly drop our percentages down. I think maybe the ace-x hands is probably the better one. We're going to go something like that. That's a little bit better, about 30%. That's a little bit tighter. If he surprises me, he surprises me. I might have some notes on him. Now we've got, called 2 bets, called 3 bets. Limp and called the raise. We've got a lot of those hands. So he does include King 7. I've got those. Ace 7 off. So maybe it is. Maybe something like that. All right. So then it's on me. ISO. We're just going to always ISO. This guy's loose. He tends to be passive. We're going to raise. We're going to try to get him to fold. And try to get heads up. So I think this is where the pressure is. We still have 3 players behind us. Let's pressure it. We've got a king. If we get one more caller, we're still going to be in position. I know we had 5s yesterday. We were kind of in the same situation. Should we isolate? Well, we had 2 callers and both of them were loose, or we had 2 limpers. No, you had a preflop raise to 2, and then you had a caller. You already had someone there. And I think in that case, the attempt to squeeze just isn't going to work. Here, we're actually raising. We're trying to isolate. We want the initiative here so that on boards with a high card, we could bet and probably pick it up. So that includes all of these junky hands that are just speculative. We can still bet a high card flop and expect to pick it up. Our range is going to be stronger. So we raise the 5. I think that's adequate. Everyone else folds except first guy. And the question is he going to fold any of this? Not with how we constructed it. We had the check call. He hasn't folded yet. I kind of think if this is going to be his limping range, this might be his calling range too. We could narrow it down a little bit more, like maybe remove that Jack 7, but we'll go with it. So the flop comes down 9-7-6. This is not the best flop for us. This is right in the middle. It's going to hit villain. It hits a lot of his hands, a lot of his pit 1 pair, straight draws. No flushes, thankfully. So we still should have. I guess we don't have any sort of range advantage. We're behind. So I think since we're behind, we're actually going to reduce our, the frequency that we're going to c-bet here. Definitely we've got some value in c-betting. So I think we're going to be betting our. If we check behind, we could check the straight. No, we're not. We're going to bet the straight. We're going to bet the sets. I think we're going to get called by a lot of hands, and we want to be called by a lot of those hands. I think we're going to be betting our overpair, probably all of them, including our 10s. 10s and jacks are blockers. 10s especially are good blockers. I think the top pair, though, is when we start not betting. So I think ace 9, king 9, queen 9, we start checking it. I think we're going to be checking pocket pair less than the top card, bottom pair, pocket pair less than the board. I think for balance, we're going to probably do open-enders. Probably our gut shots, 2-card gut shots, 1-card gut shots, maybe. Maybe that's going to be all. I actually think I like checking some of those gut shots and instead going for our 2-card backdoor flush draws and betting hands like this. Maybe our ace 5, ace 4. I think I like betting those, and then that's with the 2-card backdoor, and then possibly also our like offsuits, just our just flat our overcard. We're getting to be a lot here. That's 83%. So and we're doing that to try to balance. So maybe what we need to do is kind of cut back on what we're doing. Yeah, I don't think we should be betting as often. So let's take out just those overcards, and then let's reduce what we're actually going to be betting. So I think we've got some value with the checks with like a 10 and jack. We can always bet the turn as like a delayed. Is that better? That might be a little bit better. We'll go with those. So we bet and he calls. What does he call with? I'm going to say all the top pair. Fold c-bet stat, out of position, 75%. That's out of position. Yep. I think he continues when he connects with a piece of it. Top pair plus, open-enders. I'm going to say 2-card gut shot. Maybe not regular gut shot. Possibly middle pair and bottom pair. Pocket pair below the board, and maybe we'll include that 75%. So that's going to be a range. Queen of spades. So this is a spot now that if had we checked, I think we can now bet as a delayed c-bet. I think that improves us. You know, kept his entire range in the hand, kept our entire range in. Well, actually, we narrowed it because we didn't c-bet, but the queen now kind of connects with all of those overcards that we really weren't going to c-bet because I don't think we have range advantage. We needed to cut our frequency down. So now villain donks, and that is interesting. We've seen this before. Donks flop with top pair are better. Donked paired flop without trips are better. Played turn draw aggressively. Had that. Donk is 3 out of 5 on the turn. Flop. Donk is 2 out of 12. 2 out of 3. That's interesting. I mean, we've got the kings. What is he doing this with? I don't really think he does it with the straight. I mean, maybe he plays tricky when he gets a straight or a set or 2 pair. I think this is a flush draw, open-ender. Maybe a 1-card open-ender. Maybe a gut shot that he's doing this with. I'm kind of thinking Jack 10, maybe with a flush draw. Yeah, but we don't have that. He's got Jack 10 off. What do you do? It's middle pair? Yeah, maybe. We're going to do that. question is, what's our play here? What's our play here? You can see we don't really have distribution like overly strong hands. I think we should raise. I think we raise our straight set, 2-pair, overpair, top pair, pocket pair less than the top card. I think we can just call. I think we can just call with those. With our weak pair. We're not going to have enough bluffs in our range. So maybe top pair becomes a call. Hold on. Get those out. There we go. Maybe top pair goes into our protection range that we could easily have had top pair. I think maybe we call with top pair and then, but over pair we bet. I think then our flush draw, we could raise. Our open ender we can raise. But I think then the one card open ender, the gut shots, I think could be calls. What happens if we bet and he raises? Maybe it's these. Maybe these. We call the flush draw. We call the open ender. And we'd have equity. If we bet and he raises, we have to consider that maybe he has 8-10 with maybe the spade. So I think it would be devastating for us to fold our flush draw when we have equity. But I don't think we would mind folding the gut shots. I think that's what we're looking at. And if he makes that raise, then also with the open ender, we have to assume that maybe our open ender, we're just going for a split pot. So we don't mind folding those. We would mind folding flush draw or open enders. So I think that could be our range here. So I did raise, which I think is a play with the overpair. Yeah, so what we're going to have to do is X these out to keep them. All right, so that's our raising range. Villain calls instead of raising. I think villain would have raised with the straight. I think possibly he would have raised with the set. 2-pair is questionable. Tends to be passive. It's his overall aggression factor. He becomes more aggressive on the turn in the river. Okay. Yeah, I think 2-pair probably raises still. Probably raises. Top pair probably just calls. Middle pair could call. I think the draws call. Flush draw, open ender. I don't think the flush. So we're looking at that, I think, is what his calling range is. Which means we should have it crushed. 3 of diamonds comes. When he checks, what do we do? How often does he fold? That's going to be our question. So I think he's going to fold nothing. I think he's going to probably fold the weak pair. Probably fold the middle pair. I think he's folding. So it looks like 76% of the time he's going to be folding, which means we probably need to be betting 100% of our range here. And probably need to go 30 big blinds. Just go ahead and bet. Checked because I had some showdown. He did bet, but I think the draws, the obvious draws missed. The spade missed. The straights missed. I I mean, we could say that we do have some showdown with, let's say, the overpair only, but so if we look at that, we're about even here. But I think we missed some value, because if we bet, what does he call? He could call top pair. Yeah, so maybe our top pair, we would be turning our top pair into a bluff, or our one pair hands into a bluff. Okay. Yeah, we're turning our one pair hands into a bluff is basically what we're doing. So yeah, I think what we do is have a range like that. We're going to bet our straight, or we're going to bet our nothing minus ace high. Ace high's got some value with ace high, and then we go with everything else. Because I think if we bet, we're only, I think, going to be getting called by hands that beat us. The set, maybe, I think we could bet. No, because if we bet and he calls, we're losing with the set almost always. So, hate not betting the set, but that could probably be the correct play. So we go, he shows 7-8, he shows middle pair with that gut shot. So this was here where, oh, I guess it'd be his second pair, weak pair with the gut shot. But we had that. Yes, we did. Then queen of spades comes up. That. Okay, that's better. Yeah, so we didn't have it because I didn't really think he would lead with that. I thought maybe the 2 card, but it is a straight. He had a straight draw. He had a pair with a straight draw, so that kind of makes sense a little bit. Don't really agree with it. I think it'd be better if he check raised it. You checked, I bet, he comes over the check raise. It's gonna I'm representing that check raise represents real strength. It's gonna be hard for me to call. So I think how I played it was fine because I had kings, but I think it's interesting to kind of go through and realize that, yeah, even though we have the overpair, I don't think we're going to be betting here on that river because I don't think our bet's going to be for a whole lot of value. I think the hands that it's going to call will only be hands that we beat unless we know otherwise. So I did have a note on here. Oh no, I had this hand marked for review. So we reviewed it. We'll add notes to see what he had, but overall, I thought it played okay. I'm glad I checked the river. Glad I've checked the river. All right, so hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.